Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a subject that, though painful, is crucial for personal development. When a woman ignores you, many men instinctively react in ways that sabotage their dignity and self-worth. But listen, gentlemen, there are 7 critical mistakes you must avoid if you wish to grow, to maintain your self-respect, and to build a life of meaning. The moment you start chasing, you signal to the world that you lack control over your emotion. A man who cannot control his impulses is a man who is easily swayed by the external world. If you act as though someone else's attention validates your worth, you have already surrendered your power. The more you chase, the more you diminish your value in their eyes. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with self-respect, not to those who beg for approval. Neediness is not an expression of love. It is an admission of insecurity. You cannot convince someone to care about you by overwhelming them with your presence. The more you push for validation, the less valuable that validation becomes. You must understand this deeply. Desperation repels, while self-assurance attracts. A person who is sure of their worth does not feel the need to prove it. If you feel compelled to convince someone to acknowledge you, you have already lost their respect. The more you chase, the more you reinforce a dangerous belief that you are incomplete without their recognition. This is a lie. You are whole before them and you will remain whole after them. Chasing is not an act of love. It is a failure of self-respect. If you pursue someone at the cost of your dignity, you are not chasing love. You are chasing the illusion of worth. When you chase, you create a dynamic of imbalance. The person being pursued becomes the prize, and the pursuer becomes the one desperate for approval. People rarely respect those who beg for their time. Those who understand their value do not need to prove it to anyone. If you have to convince someone to see your worth, they are not meant to be in your life. A man who knows his value does not chase. He does not flood inboxes with messages. He does not anxiously wait for a reply. He does not crumble when someone pulls away. He stands firm, knowing that his worth is not dependent on external validation. When you chase, you are telling the world that you do not believe in your own significance. And when you do not believe in it, why should anyone else? The need to chase comes from a place of lack, from a mindset of scarcity. You believe that if you do not win this one person's attention, you will be left with nothing. But this is a deception. There is abundance in the world, but you will never experience it if you cling desperately to what is trying to walk away. Those who are meant to be in your life will stay without you having to beg them. Chasing distorts reality. It makes you see rejection as a challenge to be conquered rather than a sign to step back. It makes you believe that if you just try harder, if you just do more, if you just sacrifice your pride, you will finally be seen. But that is not how human attraction works. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. People want to be around those who are secure in themselves, not those who need constant reassurance. When you chase, you place your happiness in someone else's hands. You make them responsible for your emotional well-being. This is not a burden anyone wants to carry. No one respects a person who cannot stand on their own. The moment you need someone to validate your existence, you become a liability rather than an asset. You must be the foundation of your own happiness, or you will always be at the mercy of others. True strength is in restraint. It is in knowing when to walk away. It is in recognizing that your time is valuable and should not be wasted on those who do not appreciate it. A person who does not acknowledge your worth does not deserve your energy. Every second you spend chasing is a second stolen from your growth. The time you waste pleading for attention could be spent building yourself into someone who never has to beg. If someone does not prioritize you, they have already made their decision. Your response to that decision defines you. You can either accept reality with dignity or fight against it in desperation. The first path leads to self-respect. The second leads to self-destruction. It is not your job to convince anyone to care about you. It is your job to respect yourself enough to walk away when they do not. A man who chases is a man who fears being alone. But solitude is not a curse. It is a crucible. It is where you forge your strength, where you discover your true worth. If you cannot be alone without feeling lost, you are not yet complete. And if you are not complete, you will always seek validation from others instead of finding it within yourself. People are drawn to those who move with purpose, not to those who hover around them like shadows. If you are constantly trying to prove yourself, you are coming from a place of inadequacy. Confidence is silent. It does not beg, it does not plead. It simply exists, undeniable and unshaken. If you must force someone to notice you, you are already losing. Chasing is the act of placing someone else on a pedestal while diminishing yourself. The moment you elevate another person above your own self-worth, you give them the power to dictate your happiness. No one should have that power except you. If someone does not see your value, it is not your duty to make them see it. It is your duty to honor yourself enough to move on. There is no dignity in forcing yourself into someone's life. There is no honor in convincing someone to stay. The highest form of self-respect is knowing when to let go. If someone ignores you, take that as a clear sign. Do not waste your time decoding mixed signals. Clarity is found in action, not in words. If they wanted you in their life, they would make an effort. If they do not, that is all the answer you need. Those who are truly valuable do not chase, they attract. They do not seek validation, they command respect. They do not force connections, they cultivate presence. When you become a person of depth, purpose, and self-mastery, you will never have to chase. People will naturally gravitate toward you. But that will only happen when you stop seeking external approval and start building your own foundation. A man who chases is a man who does not yet understand his own power. He believes that his happiness lies in another person's hands. But real power comes from within. It comes from knowing that you do not need anyone's approval to be complete. It comes from walking away when you are not valued. It comes from choosing self-respect over desperation. There is strength in restraint. There is power in silence. There is wisdom in walking away. Do not chase those who are indifferent to you. Do not beg for the attention of those who do not see your worth. Do not waste your time convincing someone to care. The moment you choose to stop chasing is the moment you reclaim your power. And when you reclaim your power, the world takes notice. Weak men seek sympathy. Strong men seek solutions. The moment you allow yourself to feel like a victim, you give away control of your life. There is no power in self-pity. There is no progress in blaming circumstances. The world does not reward those who cry about their misfortune. It rewards those who take responsibility and rise above it. If a woman ignores you, it is not an injustice. It is not a conspiracy against you. It is a lesson, a mirror reflecting the truth about where you stand. And if you refuse to see that truth, you will remain blind to the path forward. Victimhood is a disease that spreads through weak minds. It convinces you that the world owes you something. It makes you believe that your pain is special, that your struggles are unique, but suffering is universal. Everyone experiences rejection. Everyone faces disappointment. The difference is in how you respond. The weak man complains, the strong man adapts. The weak man seeks comfort, the strong man seeks growth. If you fall into the trap of self-pity, you will drown in your own excuses. No one is coming to save you. No one is obligated to care. The harsh reality is that the world does not stop because you feel hurt. It keeps moving, and if you do not move with it, you will be left behind. Every second spent feeling sorry for yourself is a second wasted. The energy you pour into victimhood could be used to build yourself into someone who never has to beg for attention. A man who controls his own destiny does not sit around waiting for someone to fix his life. He takes action. He builds. He improves. Women do not ignore men for no reason. Attraction is not based on fairness. It is based on value. If you were truly irreplaceable, if you were a man of undeniable strength and presence, you would not be overlooked. But instead of asking, why is this happening to me, ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of resenting the situation, use it as fuel to become better. A weak man blames the woman. A strong man elevates himself so high that rejection becomes irrelevant. Self-pity is an anchor that keeps you stuck in mediocrity. Every time you wallow in your pain, you reinforce the belief that you are powerless. But you are not powerless. You are simply unwilling to take responsibility for your reality. The world does not hand out success to those who complain. It rewards those who fight for it. If you feel ignored, step back and assess the truth. Are you the kind of man who naturally commands attention, or are you expecting recognition without effort? There is no dignity in playing the victim. There is no strength in blaming others for your circumstances. A man who lacks accountability is a man who will never achieve greatness. The difference between those who win and those who lose is simple. Winners own their fate. while losers make excuses. You can either accept your reality and change it, or you can cry about it and stay the same. But understand this: no one respects a man who refuses to take charge of his own life. Rejection is not the end of the world. It is an opportunity to refine yourself. Every setback is a lesson in disguise. Every moment of being ignored is a test of your resilience. If you allow one woman's lack of interest to break you, what does that say about your strength? If you need constant validation to feel worthy, then your confidence is a lie. True self-worth does not crumble in the face of rejection. It remains intact, unshaken, unwavering. Blaming external factors is the fastest way to failure. If a woman ignores you, do not waste your energy trying to understand her motives. Focus on yourself. Focus on becoming undeniable. The more time you spend analyzing why someone does not value you, the less time you spend increasing your own value. That is why you become your own self. The most powerful men do not seek validation. They create a life so compelling that they do not need it. Build yourself into a force, and the right people will take notice. A weak man believes he deserves attention simply for existing. A strong man understands that respect is earned. If you are being overlooked, do not see it as an attack. See it as a wake-up call. The world does not cater to those who feel entitled. It rewards those who bring undeniable value. If you are being ignored, it means there is room for growth. Use that knowledge as motivation, not as an excuse to feel defeated. Self-respect begins where self-pity ends. The moment you stop blaming others for your misfortune, you take the first step toward greatness. There is no shame in failing. There is only shame in refusing to improve. If you are ignored, if you are overlooked, if you are not chosen, good. Let it push you. Let it forge you into someone who never needs to chase, never needs to beg, never needs to convince anyone of his worth. The strongest men in history were not handed success. They were tested, rejected, and refined through hardship. Your pain is not special. Your struggle is not unique. The difference between you and the men who thrive is how you handle it. You can let rejection define you, or you can use it to sharpen yourself into someone who cannot be ignored. The choice is always yours. You either rise or you stay the same. But understand this: no one will feel sorry for you. The world respects men who take ownership of their lives. Be one of them. Anger is the response of a man who feels powerless. Resentment is the poison of those who refuse to take accountability. The moment you allow yourself to be consumed by bitterness, you have already lost. No great man in history was forged through self-pity and blame. Weak men lash out when they feel ignored, but strong men rise above emotional reactions. If you allow rejection to turn into hatred, you are no longer in control of your own mind. A man who cannot control his emotions is a man who will always be controlled by others. There is no strength in hostility. There is no power in being bitter. If a woman does not acknowledge you, it is not a personal attack. It is a reality check. The moment you see rejection as an insult instead of an opportunity for growth, you reveal your own insecurity. A confident man does not rage when overlooked. He improves himself until being ignored is no longer an option. Those who resort to anger are simply masking their own feelings of inadequacy. If you truly believed in your worth, rejection would not shake you. Hatred is a weakness disguised as strength. The more you blame others for your failures, the less you evolve. A man who carries resentment is a man who remains stagnant. Every second spent being angry is a second stolen from your potential. When you waste time being bitter, you forfeit the chance to build yourself into someone who naturally commands respect. No one respects a man who is ruled by his emotions. The strongest men are those who remain unmoved by rejection. If you lash out when ignored, you prove that you were never worthy of attention to begin with. Those who deserve respect do not demand it, they embody it. The moment you react with anger, you validate the very reason you were overlooked in the first place. The world does not cater to men who seek revenge for their failures. It rewards those who take their setbacks and use them as fuel for greatness. The difference between success and failure is simple. One man learns from rejection, the other resents it. No one owes you anything. No one is required to give you their time, their affection, or their attention. The belief that you are entitled to someone's interest is a delusion. Attraction is earned, not given. If you do not command presence, do not blame others for not noticing you. If you react to indifference with hostility, you reveal that you are not a man of discipline, but a man of desperation. and desperation is never attractive. Every time you let anger dictate your response, you reinforce your own weakness. A man of true power does not get emotional when faced with rejection. He does not insult those who do not choose him. He does not waste energy trying to prove his worth through aggression. The world is filled with men who could be great, but are too consumed by bitterness to rise above their circumstances. Do not be one of them. The moment you let go of resentment is the moment you become truly free. Anger clouds judgment. It makes you act irrationally. It forces you into a mindset of scarcity, where you believe that every rejection is a personal loss rather than an opportunity to refine yourself. If someone ignores you, your response determines everything. A weak man reacts with rage. A strong man responds with silence. The one who maintains composure holds all the power. The one who lashes out reveals his fragility. Resentment is an anchor that keeps you trapped in mediocrity. It convinces you that the world is against you. It makes you see others as the enemy instead of looking inward and finding the real battle, the one within yourself. If you focus on external blame, you will never achieve internal mastery. True dominance is not found in overpowering others, but in mastering your own reactions. If rejection fuels anger, you are still a slave to your emotions. If rejection fuels growth, you are already ahead of most men. No one respects a man who is easily shaken. No one admires someone who lets rejection turn into hatred. The moment you allow yourself to hate those who ignore you, you admit defeat. You have let another person control your state of mind. That is not power. That is surrender. And a man who surrenders his emotions to others will never truly own his destiny. Control yourself or be controlled by the world. Strength is measured in how you respond to adversity. Weak men crumble, lash out, blame, and curse their misfortune. Strong men take every setback and turn it into motivation. If rejection makes you bitter, you were never strong to begin with. Resentment is the refuge of the weak. It is the excuse of those who refuse to improve. It is the crutch of men who fear self-reflection. True confidence comes from the ability to move forward without resentment. Let others waste their time being angry. Let others dwell on who ignored them. You have no time for that. You are building. You are evolving. You are growing into a force that cannot be ignored. A man with a vision does not have the luxury of being bitter. A man on a mission does not stop to blame others for his failures. Every moment of anger is a moment lost, and the most valuable resource in life is time. Do not spend it on resentment. Spend it on becoming undeniable. A man without a mission is a man lost in the chaos of the world. The moment you prioritize external validation over your purpose, you weaken yourself. A man who is easily distracted by rejection does not yet understand the weight of his own destiny. The greatest men in history were not concerned with who ignored them. They were consumed by their vision. If you let the opinions of others dictate your focus, you will never achieve anything of significance. Your mission is the foundation of your existence. Without it, you are just another person drifting through life, reacting to circumstances instead of creating them. A man who is obsessed with his purpose does not have time to worry about who gives him attention. He is too busy becoming something greater. When you allow rejection to shake your confidence, you reveal that your mission was never strong enough to hold you. The world respects men who build. It admires those who dedicate themselves to something larger than fleeting emotions. When you center your life around seeking approval, you become a puppet to external forces. A real man directs his energy toward his purpose, not toward seeking validation from those who do not see his worth. The moment you let yourself be consumed by distractions, you weaken your position in the game of life. Every second spent worrying about why someone does not acknowledge you is a second stolen from your growth. Every ounce of energy wasted on self-doubt is energy that could have been used to sharpen your skills, refine your craft, and elevate your mind. Your time is the most valuable asset you have. Do not spend it chasing ghosts. Do not waste it trying to win over people who do not contribute to your journey. The greatest men do not beg for recognition. They become so powerful that the world has no choice but to notice them. They do not allow themselves to be pulled off course by temporary setbacks. They understand that rejection is irrelevant in the grand scheme of their mission. If you let distractions dictate your focus, you will never build anything of substance. If your purpose is easily derailed, it was never strong enough to begin with. A weak man waits for approval. A strong man creates his own reality. If you are constantly seeking validation from others, you have already surrendered control of your destiny. True power comes from relentless pursuit of your goals, regardless of who supports you. You must be willing to walk alone, to sacrifice comfort, to endure solitude. Your mission is not dependent on anyone else's approval. It is driven by your own unshakable will. The men who change the world do not stop to dwell on rejection. They are too consumed with creating, innovating, and mastering their craft. They do not care who ignores them because they are too busy making themselves undeniable. When you focus on your mission with absolute intensity, people will naturally gravitate toward you. The moment you stop seeking, you start attracting. But attraction is a byproduct of mastery, not a goal in itself. Most men fail because they lack direction. They wander aimlessly, hoping for validation instead of forging their own path. They allow distractions to pull them away from their true purpose. They let emotions dictate their decisions instead of discipline. If you are not ruthlessly focused on your mission, you will be swept away by the distractions of the world. Do not let rejection be one of those distractions. It is insignificant in comparison to your ultimate goal. A man who understands his value does not seek to prove it, he embodies it. He does not beg for attention. He builds something so great that the world cannot ignore him. When your purpose is clear, everything else becomes secondary. If you are still worried about who is paying attention to you, you have not yet fully committed to your mission. Commitment means absolute focus, an unbreakable mindset, an unshakable will to win. Rejection is a test. It separates the weak from the strong. The weak, let it distract them. The strong, use it as fuel. Every time you feel overlooked, remind yourself why you started. Every time you doubt yourself, double down on your efforts. The man who refuses to be stopped is the man who eventually wins. The world cannot resist a force that never wavers. Be that force. Be the one who does not break under pressure. Your mission is everything. It is the reason you wake up in the morning. It is the driving force behind every action you take. If a minor setback can shake your confidence, you are not yet ready to dominate. You must cultivate an unshakable mindset, a level of focus so intense that nothing can pull you off course. Do not let fleeting emotions derail your destiny. Your future is built by the decisions you make today. Choose discipline over distraction. Choose purpose over validation. Choose power over weakness. A man who masters himself masters the world. Weakness is not in being ignored, it is in how you respond to it. The moment you give in to victimhood, anger, or distraction, you surrender your power. No one is coming to save you. No one owes you recognition. The strongest men do not chase approval. They build themselves into forces so undeniable that the world has no choice but to notice. You must become that man. You must rise above self-pity, control your emotions, and remain ruthlessly focused on your mission. The choice is simple. Stay weak and be forgotten, or become great and be unstoppable.